Hello there and welcome to your ACCA F8 course, Audit and Assurance. This short presentation really just serves as an introduction to the paper, and what we're going to be looking at is the syllabus areas that the examining team are going to be testing us on in ACCA F8, and also the exam format and the types of questions that we'll see both in the paper-based assessment and also in the computer-based assessment. There are 5 syllabus areas within the ACCA F8 syllabus. The first of these areas looks at audit framework and regulation. Now, in terms of your course materials, that really looks at the information that's taught in chapters 1 through to 5. So first of all, we're going to be thinking about what an audit actually is, and also thinking about the wider context of assurance. Then we're going to think about regulation, corporate governance, and linked to corporate governance is the area of internal audit. And then the final area that forms part of this syllabus, section A, is the area of ethics. Syllabus area B is planning and risk assessment. Now that's chapters 6 and 7, and it's a key audit area. What we're thinking about is, can you describe audit risks? It's extremely important for the exam, and think about the auditor's response. So once they've spotted a risk, what is the auditor going to do to address it? Syllabus area C is internal control, and that's chapters 9 and 10. And what we're looking at there is the sort of theory of internal controls. So what are internal controls? For example, things such as reconciliations, things such as preventing physical access with locks on doors and keypads to doors and safes and things like that. But also thinking about scenario-based questions where there are deficiencies in a client's system of internal control, and we are reporting those to the directors, to those charged with governance. Audit evidence, that's a big topic, chapter 8, and then chapter 11 through to 17. And what we're going to be looking at there is how we do specific testing, so specific audit procedures that we would undertake as auditors in order to gather evidence. Now, syllabus area E is where everything is brought together. That's the last couple of chapters, chapters 18 and 19. And what we're thinking there is the finalisation stage, where we take a step back from all the evidence that we've gathered and have a look at the financial statements that we're thinking about issuing an opinion on. And then finally, when we actually give our audit opinion in terms of whether we say that the financial statements are okay or whether there's perhaps a material problem with them. Now, in terms of the exam format, first of all, a little bit of information on the exam duration. The F8 exam is now going to be 3 hours and 15 minutes long. Now, you may be thinking, if you've sat exams under the previous syllabus, that's a bit different, because we used to have a 3-hour exam and 15 minutes reading and planning time. Well, the ACCA have made a change to the exam duration, and they're now giving 3 hours and 15 minutes for the exam in its entirety. So you can open your paper, start reading and digesting the requirements in the scenario, and start writing in your answer booklet right at the start of the exam. The pass mark remains at 50%. Now, in our exam, we have got 2 sections to the exam. We've got section A. Now, section A will tend to test single syllabus areas. So, for example, syllabus area A, which is on the area of regulation, assurance, corporate governance, internal audit, and ethics. Now, what these questions in section A of the exam are going to be are multiple choice scenario-based case studies. Now, there'll be a bit of information at the beginning of the question, and then there'll be 5 sub-requirements that relate to that information. They're separate standalone requirements, but they're all based on the introductory information. Each of those sub-requirements is worth 2 marks, so each case is worth 10 marks. So what we would expect to see in section A of the exam is one case study that just relates, for example, to syllabus area A. So there might be some ethical considerations in there. There might be some information about corporate governance or audit committees or internal audit or assurance engagements, but we would expect that the case is on a single syllabus area. Most notably, we'd expect syllabus area A and also syllabus area E, but we would also see other aspects of the syllabus tested in those scenario-based cases. In terms of section B in the exam, this is your long sort of written element. Now you've got 3 questions in total. One question is worth 30 marks. And then you've got questions 2 and question 3, which are going to be worth 20 marks. And these are very similar to the questions that we've had under the previous syllabus. So you'd expect there to be maybe 3, 4, possibly 5 requirements that relate to the information in the scenario, and then they'll be testing obviously across the syllabus. Predominantly in terms of the syllabus, we would be expecting syllabus areas B, C and D to be the majority of the marks. However, you may well find that there's 5 marks, for example, on audit reports, syllabus area E, that is part of that longer question. So that's the format of the exam that we've got. In terms of the way to sit your exam, you have a choice. You can either sit the paper-based exam or you can sit a computer-based exam. There are very small differences between the 2 types of exam. If you sit the paper-based exam, then in section A, those scenario-based case studies will be multiple choice. So you would choose your answer option A, B, C or D. And section B, you'll have obviously paper in your answer booklet and you will then write your answer out in the traditional way. However, if you choose to do the computer-based exam, then obviously it's on computer. Section A will be made up of objective test questions. So what you're looking at there is not necessarily just choosing A, B, C or D, but you might have something like a multiple response question where it's which 2 of the following are advantages of whatever it happens to be, and then you need to click on 2 options from the list that's provided. You may have questions such as drag and drop, so they might have a definition with a word missing and an option for lots of the different words on the screen, and you need to pick the appropriate word that's missing and drag it up into the space to complete the sentence. For section B, what you're looking at there is you'll be typing your answer, most likely just for FA, into a word processing document. There are some numbers in FA insofar as things like ratio calculations, if you're identifying audit risk, or if you're looking at analytical procedures for audit evidence. So you might find that you need to type into the spreadsheet to do those calculations, but on the whole, I'd expect you really to be using the word processing document on the computer testing system. We really hope that you enjoy studying your F8 course, Audit and Assurance, with us. In terms of final words of wisdom, I guess, the key thing is, even if you're not an auditor, please know that this exam is perfectly passable. Now, the best way to pass the exam is to do as much question practice as you can. It's not about learning the information, it's about having a little bit of knowledge and then applying that knowledge in the questions in order to be able to show the examining team that you are a safe pair of hands as far as auditing is concerned. What they really want to know is, do you have an understanding of the syllabus, and can you apply that understanding to the particular scenario-based questions insofar as coming up with good audit procedures that you would undertake to gather evidence, planning the audit so that you identify the key risks that are potentially going to cause problems during the audit, and being in a position to know what the appropriate auditor's opinion is to issue at the end of the audit process. So we really hope that you enjoy the course. We hope that you throw yourself into it. Make sure that you contact your tutor with queries and you get those resolved as soon as you possibly can.